The Medium is the Message by Marshall McLuhan. Okay? And I've wanted to read this book for ages. I've seen documentaries about this guy. I've seen videos, whatever, and I was so interested. Right? For years, I wanted to read this man's work, and here we are. I was a bit disappointed because my edition mostly has pictures, okay? Unfortunate. It is unfortunate. I wanted more text, less pictures, or no pictures at all. I'm not interested in pictures, right? I wanted to, go balls deep in this man's philosophy. But anyway, the Medium is the Message. Very interesting, very interesting. Basically, the idea, okay, is that now with the electronic age, with mass media, entertainment, all of these gadgets, whatever you call it, television, and so forth, right now, people, they're gonna come back to become a tribe, a clan, a society, a community, because thanks to, industry or whatever, thanks to civilization, modernity, or whatever, people have been turned indifferent. People have become, self-absorbed, focusing only on themselves. They have been neglectful of, society, community, whatever. And now, thanks to the advances in technology, right now, people have a chance to be involved yet again in life, in society, right? Because Marshall McLuhan repeats this over and over again in the book and in documentaries, in interviews. He says, what people want, especially young people, they want to be fully immersed, fully included. They want to dedicate themselves to something absolutely. And the biggest one is they want to be part of society, of something more than just, something superficial. So here we have his, major thesis, which he speculated because of technology, because now everybody is involved in the news, in what's going on in the world, that because something is reported on the television or whatever, now millions and hundreds of millions and billions of people all participate completely into whatever event is published, like the JFK funeral, for example. This is the example in the book where for the first time people from their homes were fully involved in something from far away, right? So this is the idea that now technology, mass media, whatever, offers the possibility for people to be fully involved yet again in society, in the events, in the affairs of the world. And, I get it that, this is a hopeful, optimistic sentiment. If you read the book or watch documentaries and interviews, it is, there's this optimistic undertone, which assumes that people being involved in the affairs of the world is a good thing, right? Thanks to mass media, it is optimistic, right? And I was just like cringing throughout this because now we know the truth. Okay, listen. It was a good idea. It was an ideal, right? Obviously. But I have to say, thankfully, he calls it the electronic tribe, or the electric community, or now we can call it the digital sphere, or the verse, or the virtual reality community, whatever you want to call it, the online territory, whatever, has been a complete and total failure. miserably. It has failed miserably. People are even more indifferent, more superficial, more detached, more depersonalized, disenfranchised, whatever word you want to use. And let me tell you, it's not because of technology per se. Technology is just a tool. It is passive, neutral, right? And it is never said in the book. But this is my opinion why the electronic tribe, the online domain, has failed to bring people together as a community. It is because human beings are intrinsically, selfish, self-entitled, self-absorbed, dumb, biased, and intrinsically evil. This is why the digital tribe, the electronic community, has failed miserably. People are not more involved in the affairs of the world. People just sit back and watch this show, this circus, and they laugh about it. Or, I don't know, they think that if they put a comment, they think that they're, performing some sort of grand change for the good, for the better. No, okay. The virtual reality hub, the online domain, it is not a community. It is not a clan. It is not a tribe. It is a, it is a cesspool, basically. A cesspool for, degenerates and perverts and dum-dums, to get a kick, to chase a thrill. They want to chase illusions and they want to be deluded, right? And they deceive themselves, right? Right? There is no community. And if there is one, it is superficial, artificial at best. Okay, it is not technology's fault. We cannot blame technology because it is just a tool. Okay? And I have to repeat myself, it is not said in this book, but I will say it now. It is because of human beings, of every human being, both the individual and the collective are to blame for this massive, gargantuan failure. Okay? Because, every sociologist should know this. Every behavioral scientist, every psychiatrist should know this by now. You should know this by now. When people get together in groups, be it physically on the street or on online platforms, whatever makes human beings special is lost when people get together. They become, an animal, a beast, a mindless horde, insectoid. It is a hive mindset, devoid of anything extraordinary or exquisite. When people get together, they become, a sort of wave, a current that is primitive, that is unthinking. Okay, this is what happens both on the street and especially on online platforms. It is embarrassing. It is pathetic. Okay? And you only have to, read comments or check out videos or see how this so-called community interacts or what they do, what their ideas are, and you can see that they're all, brainless, brainwashed, that there's nothing unique or rare or, I keep using this word special. Groups, tribes, clans will not save you. They will not make you whole. They will not make you happy. It will give you a high. You think that now you have reached something, that now you have been accepted. It won't last, okay? It won't last. The only way for you to attain any sort of, not enlightenment, but fulfillment. If you want peace, the only way to attain it is to be an individual in solitude. That's just my opinion. That's my hot take. Maybe I'm wrong. It sure should help me. reach some sort of balance and peace, being an individual in solitude. No electronic tribe or clan or community on an online platform ever helped me out in the long run, right? If you get a momentary high by being part of some group or squad or movement, it won't last, okay? You have to understand this. The older you get, you should realize that nothing outside of yourself will save you. Nothing will save you. It is up to you. By yourself. You see, this is my philosophy, if you want to call it. If you feel the need to be part of something bigger than yourself, a movement, a current, you want to be part of a society, a community. You want to be involved in the world. You are always participating in these online, squads or communities, basically. Followings, and etc. My philosophy is that maybe you do not have any internal resources to rely on, so you rely on the exterior, right? If you have internal resources to rely on, then everything that is external will not tempt you in any way, because you're fine. I don't feel absolutely any need to be part of any group, clique, posse, and so on. And I sure as shit don't want to be involved in the affairs of the world or of any society. Okay? It is external, and it will pass over, and it doesn't matter. I think this is how I'm going to end this video. There is a great emphasis in Marshall McLuhan's book that, it is almost implied that it is very important to be involved in, your society or any society, to be interested in the affairs or the occurrences that happen locally and globally. And I have to tell you this, folks, if you're younger, I'm going to have to tell you this. It does not matter what happens in the world, what happens in your neighborhood, politically, socially, financially, culturally. It is all insignificant, irrelevant, it is garbage, and these things are here to distract you from the real things that you should think about and the real things that you should consider, right? These are all here to be distractions for you, right? When people get together, they become sheep, and sheep do not think. Sheep are swept away by the current of, worldly happenings, worldly going-ons, right? Be an individual. Don't be some, simpleton that gets suckered into the mass media, report. What's going on today in Ukraine or whatever? Oh, this politician said this. Who cares? Or something happened online with a celebrity. Who cares? Move on, bro. This is the most basic dumb shit ever, and it should not be entertained. It should not interest you whatsoever, right? They're all distractions, right? And again, in the book, there is a great emphasis placed on young people. That young people, they're so involved in the affairs of the world, the societal changes, the political waves of change, and, whatever happens. And I'm like, why? For what? This is all fast food, popcorn to be consumed, and for you to feel good. For the moment, temporary. It's a temporary high, a temporary thrill. I don't give two shits what happens in the world. Not here or anywhere else. Who cares? What society does. Let me tell you, why are you so interested in what happens in the world, in society, in culture, in whatever? Why? For what? You're here today, you're gone tomorrow. Nothing ever changes. Everything repeats itself over and over again. We're stuck in a loop. Nothing positive will ever happen. It's plain and simple. You only have to look at the evidence. Political movements and parties and ideologies, they come, they're a new thing, they get replaced, and it's all the same thing over and over again. They just put a new label on it, they change some words, but it's the same thing over and over again. The same with revolutions. The people that were oppressed will become the oppressors. I mean, come on, this is basic history. Okay, this is basic vanilla history. It's so obvious. You only need 5 minutes to realize this. Okay, and I'm not interested in the world because the world never did anything for me. I'm not interested in society because society never did anything for me. Okay, I'm not simping for the world. I'm not simping for society. I'm not simping for life. What has life ever done for me or you? Okay, we were born here without our consent, and here we are. Oh well, we gotta live. Even though it kind of sucks, right? So the world has nothing to offer you. Society has nothing to offer you. Most people, and this is just my opinion, most people have nothing to offer you. They certainly have nothing to offer me because most people are sheep. They're normies. They don't have any ideas of their own. They don't want to think, right? They want to be happy. They want to be entertained. They want to be tickled just right. And because of this, that is why they immerse themselves in this, circus, this spectacle that is grotesque, that is, the affairs of the world, society, what other people are doing, whatever occurrence there is, This is why people get involved in this dumb shit, because they don't have nothing of their own. They don't have a brain to think for themselves. You are born in this world to be taken advantage of by the system. Okay? This is what the system has been designed to do to you. Every step of the way, no matter what you do, the system will make you its bitch. No matter what you do, it will milk you dry, it will make you miserable, and it will never let you be happy. Right? Because a happy, worker might have some time to think about things, right? So the system has to torture you and has to exploit you every step of the way until you are dead. From cradle to grave, this world takes advantage of you. This is what the system is, right? So why would you be so, why would you fangirl so, intensely for what happens? What happens in the mass media? What happens in politics? What happens, I don't know, with celebrities? Whatever, I don't give a shit. I don't watch the news, bro. Right? So why would you be so concerned about who said what and what happened? And there was an accident, and oh my God, the price of this. Who cares? This will all fade away. This will all go away. This should not be your concern. You should be concerned with finding peace and balance. The only way for this to happen is to be by yourself. It is the only way to attain this is to divorce yourself from society, from the world, and whatever events occur, because they are of the lowest quality. They are completely insignificant and irrelevant to you or to me. Okay? And, this is the problem that I had with this book all throughout this book. It is just beaten into you that, oh boy, there's nothing greater than just watching the news and being, and watching movies and just being glued to your television and, in today's world, being glued to your phone and being on YouTube all the time and, and on all of these online platforms. And who cares? Who cares? It's not the greatest thing ever. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time, because this is why people spend so much time on this nonsense, on this trash, is because they have a lot of time on their hands and they do not know what to do with themselves, with the time that they have, with the life that has been given. They have nothing inside of them. They're hollow, and therefore they seek the external, the exterior, the fireworks and the circus of mass media. Oh my God, what's this, this politician gonna say? Let's make fun of this or that. Let's meme the fuck out of everything. This is childish behavior, primitive, basic, simplistic, juvenile. Move on, get better, elevate yourself, right? You have to have a higher, elevated perspective and perception of things, right? I think that's the most important aspect. Your perceptions and your perspectives on everything should be different, should be on a higher class, a higher pedestal. You should have the highest standards. Don't settle for anything, and especially don't settle for the excrement that mass media offers you, right, on a plastic platter. That's the lowest of the low, the lowest quality, cheap. And let me tell you, entertainment, mass media, they cheapen everything. They trivialize everything, right? Right? This is why memes are so, they're so popular. Because it's so easy. You don't have to think about it. Everything has been cheapened. Everything has been trivialized. This is why memes are the apex of life now. Memes are the apex of life. It is so telling. It reveals a lot about most human beings, that they are almost unconscious, almost on an animalistic level, right? And I'm not here to, boast or whatever. This is just truth. This is just truth, right? So the medium is the message, the television is the extension of your eyes. The car is the extension of your legs, whatever, it's kind of, pro technology, pro, alterations that, man should fuse with technology, that it is inevitable, transhumanism, whatever, that everything is an extension of your senses, and an extension of your extensions, whatever, right? The computer is an extension of your fucking, brain or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. If you want to see it that way, it's fine, whatever. I don't care, right? Technology is taken too seriously. That's what I think. Like, oh my God, you see now, because of this rapidly increasing technology, people will be this and that, and oh my God, the smartphone is the extension of the prefrontal cortex or whatever, and it's like, yeah, sure, whatever, And yet again, I have to say that technology is neutral. It's passive. It's how people use it, and because people have used it poorly, that is why the electronic tribe, the electronic age, the online era has failed miserably. There is no community. There is no togetherness. There is no oneness. There is no love. Not really. To me, at least. People have reached the climax, the apogee of indifference, of self-absorption and narcissism. All they know, all they do is video games and memes and anime, right? They're like the online sphere, the online medium, right? The electronic hub has been a massive disappointment because of people, because of every individual, both the individual and the collective is at fault here, right? And I have to say this, technology will not save you. Technology will make things better for the moment. It's all temporary. Calm down. It will go away. Everything will go away. And we're here for the moment. We're fleeting, just like everybody, just like everything else. And everything will go away eventually. This is the true, the underlying truth of all life, of all things in life in the world, right? And of course, this is just a, I don't know, this is a, this is a superficial review. Of course, there are still a lot of things that could be said about Marshall McLuhan's philosophy. There are some good parts, of course, but the almost religious optimism that oh boy, now things will be different, things will change for the better. I can't stand that shit. It has been a complete and total failure, and the proof is everywhere, right? I think we should read a couple of things in the book because it is good. It is well written, and there's nothing inherently wrong with what Marshall McLuhan says. And I don't want it to be interpreted that I'm completely against his philosophy. I think he's a good writer. He's a thinker, of course. And, we can start with this. The major advances in civilization are the processes that all but wreck the societies in which they occur. So, of course, it's all right. It's so correct. Whatever advancement happens in society, it will be, the exact same thing that will ruin a society. You can say, the same thing about, I don't know, agriculture. Agriculture ruined, the family, the tightness, the bonds of people. And then, industry, of course, continued to ruin everything about society and people. And then, real technology and, jobs and everything. Every advancement has had a detriment on, the human psyche and, of course, the relationships, of course, and of course the arguably the greatest realization, the hydrogen bomb, for example, it was meant to, stop warfare and etc., to scare people, to stop, warring with one another. But of course, the hydrogen bomb is, of course, the thing that could very well destroy life as we know it, of course. Okay, here's this. The medium or process of our time, electric technology, is reshaping and restructuring patterns of social interdependence and every aspect of our personal life. It is forcing us to reconsider and reevaluate practically every thought, every action, and every institution formerly taken for granted. Everything is changing. You, your family, your neighborhood, your education, your job, your government, your relation to the others. And they're changing dramatically. And I have to say this, they're not changing for the better. It is not a positive. It is a de-evolution. De-evolution. Right? And this is untrue. Most people are not thinking about the effects of technology. Technology has been taken for granted. Of course, it is just another plaything. And nobody really cares what the negative effects are. Oh yeah, and there is this slogan, or this motto, or this catchphrase in this book, which is like, for example, here it says, anxiety is, in great part, the result of trying to do today's job with yesterday's tools, with yesterday's concepts. Which is to say that, that how things were done yesterday were bad or, primitive, and what we are doing today is a really great thing, and we should invent new tools to, do the job, as it were. And I'm not just like saying, what job are we really doing here in the modern age that has significance, right? Right? Because I don't understand what this incredible mission is today. What is the great job of modernity, right? That we cannot do because we're using yesterday's tools and concepts. So it seems to me that in this paragraph, it is implied that, there needs to be a change in concepts and the tools. And what does he mean by this? Does that mean that we need to embrace technology and be transhumanists, that we need to, embrace and fuse with machines to, do the job of today with today's tools. What does that mean? What's this job that we have to do? See, I don't have any anxiety because I don't have a job to do in this modern society. What is this job that people are so anxious about, right? And again, I have to say this. There is this false idea that the past was primitive, dumb, backwards. They were slow in thinking. Their concepts were this or that. It is basically degrading. If you look at the past, you can see that the farther back you go, things were better, bigger, more refined, more exquisite, more extraordinary. Concepts and the tools were, maybe they were not electronic, but they were certainly not primitive. Like, case in point, architecture, for example, just this, or art in general. The more you go back, especially with architecture, it's bigger, better, more refined, more perplexing, more, everything. It is in every way better. Right? And today's tools and today's concepts cannot figure out, for example, how the pyramids of Giza were built and why they were built, how they were built, and what were they built for, right? Right? So we're not that advanced. Calm down. Calm down. Today's tools will not save you. And, in today, there is this continuous avalanche of information blasted 24/7 in your fucking brain, which, confirms the idea by Alan Moore, who says, information, ideas will become steam. That's how profuse they will be, nonstop, 24/7, nothing but nonsense. Any importance is lost. It becomes steam. It is everywhere. You cannot, compartmentalize anything. You can't grasp anything. It's too much. It's too frequent. The flow is constant, continuous. It never ends. It's everywhere. All of this senseless information, right? It's crazy. Here's another slogan. All media are extensions of some human faculty, psychic or physical. And of course, the implication is, of course, positive yet again. But I think we can agree now that pretty much all media, whatever it is, they're not of the highest quality. I think we can agree that most media are garbage through and through. So if this garbage is an extension of human faculty, that means that today, at least, human faculty is on par with garbage. Garbage, right? If you watch the news all day long, every day, what does that say about you, of your mind, of your personality, of your faculties, right? It's not a positive thing. It's not in a positive light, I think this is the only real critique that I have with Marshall McLuhan. It's all so positive. It's also, didn't you know that, oh boy, like, it's not positive because of human beings. The generation of human beings has happened exactly when mass media became mass media in the late 50s, early 60s. This is when it happens. Everything plummeted. Everything got flushed down the toilet. When TVs became rampant everywhere, etc., everything got kicked in the nuts, basically. Education, societal life, relationships, leisure time, everything, even entertainment, everything got cheapened, trivialized because of this mass explosion of mass media and entertainment and whatever, and technology. It was not a good thing. It was not a good thing. And I dare you to disagree. The evidence is everywhere. It has not had a positive effect other than we're more comfortable. We're more comfortable, but we're not smarter. We're not better in any way, shape, or form. Okay? Our faculties have not progressed. They have not evolved. Okay, here's another one, right? It shows this picture of a tribe, and it says, the new electronic interdependence recreates the world in the image of a global village. And I absolutely reject this statement because the electronic interdependence, listen, it recreates the image of a global village, but is not a village in its conduct, in its mindset. It is simply an image. It is superficial. It looks like a village. It looks like people are getting along. It looks like people are finally bonding, right? But it's just an image. It is, I would say, an illusion of a village. If you look deeper, you can see for yourself that the global village is only a village in name and in looks, in appearance. In essence, it is far from the true fact. It is a far cry from a village. It has the appearance. This is very telling. Electronic interdependence recreates the world in the image of a global village. The image, the appearance, not its essence. The essence speaks otherwise. It is the essence of the global village. It is, like I said, most people are more indifferent, more hollow, empty shells than ever before, and they don't care about anything or anyone except for themselves. Okay? So it's not a positive. It's not a positive. You can't be so optimistic all the times when, fact is staring you in the face. Oh, and another one of these slogans is, whenever a real step forward is made in civilization, from the wagon to the car or whatever, it is said like people, instead of moving forward with their thinking, they go back in their thinking. So, when for example the steam engine came, the steam train came, people were against it, and they were dreaming about the good old days when wagons were pulled by horses, etc. And people do this because of fear, because people are afraid of the new, they are afraid of the unknown, of course. And what is implied here is that it is a bad thing to think of the past, of the good old days when things were simpler. That what technological breakthrough happens, it is automatically positive, and it should be automatically embraced because it's so good for everybody. And of course, I disagree completely with this statement. There's nothing wrong with dreaming of the good old days because they were simpler and people were were happier, right? Like I always say, simplicity. There is elegance in it. There's beauty in it. The more you complicate things, the more you put accessories everywhere, it shows that something's going on, right? It shows that something's going on. And not everything that's new or advanced is a good thing for human beings, right? 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 Can you imagine way in the future when, let's say, this holographic thing really takes off, and everything will be digital, virtual, and people will be like, remember the good old days when we had our sex bots, right? I mean, it was at least physical. Now we have to put a fucking thing on and we go into this virtual, it's absurd. It's absurd. There's nothing wrong with the good old days. The good old days, they lacked certain things, comfort. Maybe they were a bit one-sided, simple-minded, stubborn, but shit, I would pick simpler way of living, right? The simpler way of living is not necessarily wrong, right, or denigrating. Oh, and I'm gonna end it with this. There's this really this drawing here of this kid having a discussion with his dad in, of course, the the study, right? And this is what this kid says to his father. He says, "You see, Dad, Professor McLuhan says the environment that man creates becomes his medium for defining his role in it. The invention of the invention of type created linear or sequential thought, separating thought from action. Now, with TV and folk singing, thought and action are closer and social involvement is greater. We again live in a village. Get it? And I don't know, there's this condescending tone in this kid's rhetoric. It's so like, and he has a guitar. This is the 60s. And, being older now, I can see that this is just so fucking lame. It's cringe. This kid has no idea what he's talking about, okay? And I'm on that boomer level now. Now that I'm older, I kind of understand boomers more because I can see that this kid has absolutely no idea what he's talking about, that he just swallowed this, the superficial version of McLuhan's philosophy, and he just rolled with it. And oh boy, didn't you know that TV and folk singing and hippies are making it possible for us to live in a village again? Is like, shut up, kid. This is what I would tell this kid. Shut up, kid. You don't know what you're talking about. You're 15. You don't know nothing about nothing. You don't know shit about life. You haven't lived it. You had no adversity. What the fuck are you talking about, kid? This is what I'm talking about. This kid is a mindless fool. He has absolutely no idea. And he talks down to his dad like he knows. He's in the know. He's he is connected to the present times, and his daddy is a boomer, and he has absolutely no idea. Right? It's so patronizing, so condescending. When you're younger, I have certainly been like this kid. I thought that I knew shit. You're 13 years old and you become an atheist, and now you think you know shit about something, right? Yeah. So, it's not all positive. Calm down. Any movement, especially if it is popular or global, is doomed to fail because of people. In theory, it sounds wonderful. You can get behind it. But in practice, it fails miserably because of people. Okay? And of course, they were also optimistic. The electronic village, the global village, mass media will enhance everything. No, I think we can say, we can say 60 years later, we can say for a fact that no, it has been a complete and total waste of time, and even this has been flushed down the toilet, and life moved on, and people moved on, and it didn't matter one way or another, because human beings do what human beings always do, and that is to trivialize everything and take everything for granted. And this electronic global village could have happened. It most certainly could have happened with the internet. But as we all have seen, the internet is a hub, it is a haven, and a beacon, and a homestead, and a paradise for degenerates and perverts and, I don't know, thrill chasers and meme fuckboys. I don't know. Whatever. It is a complete and total failure, bro. That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, have you seen, Sonic fan fiction, bro? Right? It's a major part of the internet. Goddamn. Right? Talk about a global village, electronic, digital, virtually. Yikes. Right? And so on it goes with other things, right? The Sonic fan fiction is just one little juicy tidbit of what really goes on behind the scenes in the electronic online village. 99% of it is absolutely grotesque and disgusting and mundane, banal, okay? But that's about it. It was a quick read, like 2 hours, because there are, of course, like I said, a lot of pictures. Like 80% of this book is nothing but pictures, unfortunately. And, yeah. Not a bad read. Not a bad read, but it's sad when you read something from the past and it was so optimistic. It was all so gung-ho and giddy. You know, something's gonna happen, a change, you know, the hippie movement, all of these ideas, psychedelics, you know, make love not war, man, right? Freedom for everybody. And it just turned into a complete and utter shit show of the lowest caliber possible. Because this is what we do here. You can have all the great ideas and all the fantastic inventions. Most human beings will find a way to destroy everything of worth and make it mundane and banal and pitiful and meek. This is what we do. We trivialize everything, take them for granted. And what is going on today on the internet is the prime example of this. This is what we do here. Okay? So maybe it is for the best that we should be a bit more skeptical and maybe a bit more cynical when it comes to these extremely positive, optimistic ideas. Right? Like I say, you can be an optimist or an idealist only if you refuse to accept the fact that most people are intrinsically evil and dumber than a sack of bricks. Okay? But hey, it is what it is. Thanks for watching. If you want to support your boy, I got a few books on Amazon. The link will be down below. Thanks for watching. Keep on reading amazing books. See ya.